Hello everyone, and welcome to the Unmasking the Narcissist channel. I'm Dean, the host of the Unmasking the Narcissist channel, and I'm also the host of the N.A.R.C.N network, the Narcissistic Abuse and Recovery Care Network. Today I'm going to be presenting to you episode 11 on the Unmasking the Narcissist channel series, and the subject of episode 11 is the narcissist blocking and unblocking behavior. So this is going to be part one of this episode, and in part one we're just going to talk briefly about the reasons why the narcissist actually carries out this behavior, because they're both quite simple but also quite complex at the same time. So a lot of you who are out there who are currently dealing with a narcissist or have dealt with a narcissist in the past have probably dealt with this type of behavior. And what the narcissist is basically doing is we're predominantly talking about their behavior in the confines of, let's say, social media, but it can also be on your telephone or in an email format or whatever goes on here. And what the narcissist is basically doing here when they're blocking you from their lives is they're doing damage control, or they're simply doing attachment or interaction control with you. And what they do to basically do this is, when you're in a position with a narcissist where you're in what we've described before as the golden period with them, where you're new and they're love bombing you and trying to get you into their fuel matrix, and they're doing all these pleasant things that they do with you, you're not going to see this blocking and unblocking thing that they do. When you've gone through a period of time with them, it could be a number of months, it could be a half a year, it could be a year even, and they've put you into a phase where you're not quite as valued as you were in the beginning, and they may be at this point dealing with other subjects or other interests besides yourself. Depending on what is going on in their social media and things of this nature, you may catch the narcissist just inadvertently blocking you or unfriending you on Facebook all of a sudden out of the blue, depending on what's going on. Now, they will use many excuses why they do this, and in part 2 of episode 11 we'll go into some particular examples of that I've gone through with some of the narcissists I've been dealing with over the past couple of years. But what we're going to address here right now is just some of the things that they actually do. So you might be dealing with a narcissist or have been dealing with a narcissist for a period of time, or you may be unaware that you're actually dealing with a narcissist, but you may see this behavior. And what they do is, perhaps things with you and that person that you've been involved with haven't been going as great as they were at the beginning, and they may have been giving you some excuses. You know, they may not be spending as much time with you in person, they may not be interacting you with as much on social media. You may be, maybe just getting the sense that they're not as into you as they were at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, boom, they've been friends with you on Facebook for the past 6 months or something like this, and all of a sudden, wow, you're not friends with them on Facebook anymore, or they've just completely outright blocked you on their social media. But more commonly, what they will do on applications like Instagram or Facebook or things like that is that they will unfriend you. In more extreme cases, they will actually block you from being able to see their pages, but a lot of the times it just comes in the gesture of being unfriended or unfollowed on a social media site. Now, the reason they've done this is because they've got some new interest probably around, and that new interest is posting things on their pages. Perhaps they're liking things on the page, they're heart-liking pictures, they're heart-liking posts. And this narcissist has now become nervous that you, the person who you think is the primary person perhaps in their life, is now going to see this interaction between this other person that they're dealing with, or other persons, because it could be more than one. And what they're doing here is they've unfriended you as a means of control to make sure that you don't see the other interactions that are going on their social media. So this is one of the reasons why they will block you, and they will sometimes do this for a period of time, or they will unfriend you on social media sometimes for a period of time. And then after a little while, depending on what goes on with those other individuals that they're dealing with, They may resend you a friend request or refollow you on Instagram or do something of this nature, and then all of a sudden you can see that you can see their social media pages again. Now this can happen because of several reasons. Either that person that they were grooming, they were unsuccessful in getting into their fuel matrix. Perhaps they were too problematic, and they actually didn't work out, that they didn't actually end up being the thing that the narcissist was interested in as much as they thought, or they ended up being too much trouble to deal with, or they got wise to that narcissist. So the narcissist has abandoned the pursuit of them, or the pursuit of the attention of them, and now they have placed their attention back on you again. So now you are able to see their social media because they've re-added you as a friend or refollowed you or whatever, and you're kind of like, well, you know, why did they unfollow me? Why did they unfriend me on Facebook? Well, this is why, because something else was going on with that person or with that narcissist that they did not want you to see. And in order to keep themselves safe from any scrutiny from you, they eliminated the ability for you to see what was going on their social media pages, either just by making their pages private, by unfriending you, or even possibly by blocking you if they're putting you into a more intense devaluation or blocking period. And then all of a sudden you can't see anything that's going on in their social media. So they're doing this, of course, because they're involved with somebody else there, and they do not want you to see that. They may tell you, they will use a lot of excuses for this. They will say, oh, well, you know, I think, you know, things aren't going as well, or we're not seeing each other anymore, or we're not involved in the same capacity, so I need a little bit of privacy on my page or something of this. All this stuff, when they say this stuff to you, is basically a crock of bullshit. It's like they're just trying to eliminate you from seeing any suspicious stuff that may be going on their social media pages, and this is what they do to actually control what you're able to be exposed to and control what you're able to see. People who are not narcissists, when they break up with you, they don't usually do things of this nature. Now, it is common if you stop seeing somebody in a romantic interest for that person to possibly remove you from their social media, but usually they'll talk to you first about it. They'll say, hey, you know, we're not involved like this anymore, or I'm not feeling the same thing going on. Would you mind if I took you off my social media or whatever? And this is a common, or a more common occurrence amongst people who are not you know, dealing with a narcissist or with a narcissistic personality type person who needs to have control of everything. So they'll have dialogue with you about what they're going to do with their social media. Narcissists just do this bang, like right out of the blue. There's no warning. You're friends with them one moment, you're not friends with them the next moment on social media, or you're friends with them one moment, the next moment you're blocked from their social media completely because they don't want you to see what's going on, or they've blocked you from their phone, or they've blocked you from here, or blocked you from there, and whatever, you know, you can't get a hold of them anywhere, you can't get any contact with them happening, and this is what they do. And the reasons for this is that narcissists, by their nature, and people who have narcissism or clinical narcissism, or even narcissistic higher level attributes, but we're talking predominantly here about clinical level narcissists here. Clinical level narcissists are very paranoid people. They're paranoid because they're in fear of getting caught at what they're doing all the time. And because of this, they're very anxious. They're very unpredictable. They have a bipolar type behavior that's up and down with you. All of these things contribute to how the narcissist deals with you as far as their social media contacts with you, or as far as their personal contacts with you. So when they're blocking you and unblocking you on social media, they're simply managing your access to them in this way due to their own paranoid states and due to the functionality of what they're doing with you. This is just part of their completely unstable behavior that they do. And it's been my experience with the narcissists that I have dealt with, and also other people who I have dealt with that may have been narcissists, that they do this behavior. Now, this behavior also exists within the confines of some other disorders. Commonly, bipolar disorder people who are unstable and have anxiety and have these things and are unsure and ping-pong back and forth between loving you and hating you, they do this blocking and unblocking behavior as well too. But as we've said in prior N.A.R.C.N episodes like this, bipolar disorder people who are borderline and people with ASPD and people with other stuff commonly also have shared NPD within the profiles of their mental makeups. And this contributes to what's going on with people who have other disorders doing this type of behavior with you as well, where they block you and unblock you. It's possibly because this person also has shared NPD as another disorder within the confines of their bipolar disorder or whatever other disorder it is that they have that shares some of the same elements as this. And this is one of the reasons why they are also doing this blocking and unblocking thing with you. It's because they also have narcissistic personality disorder mixed into their other disorders on some level, because as we've talked about in previous episodes, some of the science that's going on right now is actually coming to terms with determining that a lot of the other disorders excuse me, that exist also have some forms of NPD mixed in there as well too. Now, they may be lesser forms of NPD, but because it is NPD, this also causes these other people with these other related conditions or disorders to behave commonly like people who have narcissistic personality disorder, and this is why they may also be demonstrating this blocking and unblocking type of behavior on social media when you're dealing with you. So this all comes down to control for the narcissist, how they can control you, how they can control the situation, how they feel safe within the confines of dealing with you versus dealing with other people who they may be also grooming at the moment. There's a lot of different reasons, but all the reasons come down to just management with that narcissist, or management with the other people who may be exhibiting NPD in other forms with other associated situations or other associated conditions. And this is the large-scale contributor for the blocking and unblocking of you on social media or in other aspects of how you're dealing with a person here. And this makes up why a lot of this behavior goes on. So this has been the bulk of the basic things I wanted to describe to you in part 1 of episode 11. I'm going to be presenting part 2 here, and in part 2 of episode 11, I'm going to give you some examples of the things I've gone through with some of the people who I've dealt with who were either narcissists or had NPD possibly within their makeup, within their mental makeup or their psychological makeup, or that were perhaps suspected of having NPD or perhaps other disorders in which you see the same type of blocking and unblocking behavior. So we're going to talk a little bit about this in part 2, so I'm going to say stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to also be coming up in the future with some more N.A.R.C.N episodes and some more Unmasking the Narcissist episodes, but for now I'm going to say hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to present part 2 of episode 11 very shortly. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys really soon.